Have you ever wished your AI chatbot could do more than just, spit out answers? That it could actually think with you, maybe challenge you a bit, help you really get to the bottom of something.
Yeah, go beyond just fetching information.
Exactly. So today, we're doing a deep dive into this idea of Socratic AI. We're exploring how that ancient philosophical method, the questioning stuff, is actually inspiring the next wave of interactive AI.
It's a really cool intersection.
Right. So our mission today, we've pulled together a whole stack of sources, everything from actual philosophical texts to some pretty cutting-edge AI research. And we want to uncover the maybe surprising origins, the challenges these systems face right now, and the incredible potential of AI that's designed to really engage with you in a meaningful dialogue. Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, what's fascinating here is how the Socratic method, it sort of provides the philosophical bedrock, for designing AI that moves past just simple transactions. It's really about fostering genuine engagement, a deeper exploration of ideas, and ultimately, clarifying understanding.
Helping you understand better.
Right. Think of it like building AI that can actually help us co-construct knowledge together, not just retrieve facts for us.
You might hear Socratic AI and think it's some brand new buzzword. But the connection here, and this is what I found surprising, is that this whole idea, AI helping us grasp abstract concepts, really understand, it traces a line way back, all the way back to Plato's ideas about knowledge itself.
It's not just a loose metaphor then.
No, apparently not. It's almost like a foundational blueprint for how we even represent data and abstract knowledge in AI systems.
Exactly. And this is where that Socratic dialogue approach really improves on what we typically see with AI now.
How so?
Well, traditional chatbots, they're often pretty static, aren't they? Rule-based. They kind of follow a script.
Yeah, very predictable sometimes.
Right. Socratic AI, though, aims to be truly context-sensitive. It adjusts its feedback based on your responses, based on how the conversation is flowing, much more like a real fluid dialogue.
Oh, okay.
Daskal was talking about this way back in '89, that adaptive give and take being key.
So if it's not just about getting facts dumped on you, how does this dialogical flexibility, as you called it, actually feel different for someone using it? What's the practical change for me if an AI is adapting versus just answering?
That's a great question, because the difference is significant. For you, the user, it means the system doesn't just rigidly follow its programming, it adapts to you. It might tailor the engagement, ask follow-up questions that maybe you didn't expect, even prompt you to reflect on your own reasoning.
Ah, okay. So it pushes back a bit.
In a way, yeah. It moves beyond just relaying information to actually helping co-construct knowledge with you.
Yeah.
Now, the tech behind this, the underpinnings for that flexibility, they're really crucial. AI algorithms need robust mechanisms to keep track of the context.
Yeah.
And to iteratively figure out what you actually mean, what your intention is.
Like remembering what I said 2 minutes ago.
Exactly. Think how annoying it is when a chatbot completely forgets the last thing you said.
Oh.
That's precisely the kind of basic challenge Socratic AI aims to fix. Early AI systems, they really struggled with this remembering context, interpreting subtle intentions, just keeping a logical flow going. Kron Amwad pointed this out clearly in 2018.
So the Socratic approach, it's not just for getting a deeper understanding then. It sounds like it could also improve how interactive AI learns, maybe even how it handles ethical situations.
That's a really interesting angle. Imagine these smarter AI companions, right?
Yeah.
They're designed to maybe perceive when you might be confused or where there's a gap in your knowledge.
Okay.
And then they can actively encourage critical thought. It's kind of like having a digital tutor who doesn't just fill in blanks, but actually helps you think better. Daskal even suggested this could lead towards, well, moral improvement.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
But like any really big idea, there must be hurdles. If Socratic AI is all about true understanding, here's where it gets tricky, right? The paradox.
Yeah.
Current AI, even the really impressive stuff, still faces a fundamental problem, the inability to generate deep understanding.
That's absolutely the core issue. The really profound insight here is that AI can mimic understanding, sometimes brilliantly.
It can seem like it gets it.
Totally. Generative models produce incredibly plausible human-like responses because they're amazing at recognizing patterns in data. But often they do it without really grasping the context, the intentions, the meaning underneath the words.
Just like pattern matching, not comprehension.
Kind of like a brilliant actor,
Yeah.
They can play any role convincingly, but they aren't genuinely feeling the character's emotions. For true dialogical intelligence, AI needs to interpret subtle intentions, adjust the conversation based on what those intentions reveal about your understanding, and genuinely enable reflective dialogue. Largy and Datteri made this point really well in 2023. Understanding this distinction is crucial, so we know where AI is genuinely helping us think and where it's just simulating. It really highlights why we need both philosophy and cognitive science to build these things right.
It feels like we're almost wrestling with how we even think about AI's intelligence.
Yeah.
Do our sources give us any kind of framework for understanding what's really going on inside the machine?
They do, actually. Our sources talk about three main ways we tend to explain AI behavior. There's the physical stance, looking at the circuits, the hardware.
Okay, the nuts and bolts.
Then the design stance, focusing on the program, the algorithms, how it's built to function.
The code.
And then there's the intentional stance. This is where we project human-like qualities onto the AI beliefs, intentions, rationality.
Ah, like assuming it wants to help me or believes what it's saying.
Precisely. And what's fascinating and maybe a bit problematic is that while a lot of current AI is best explained by the physical and design stances, we humans, as users, very often jump straight to the intentional stance, especially if the AI's responses seem good or intelligent.
We can't help ourselves.
It seems like a psychological default. We project assumptions about cognition onto these machines. The big problem. It can easily create a false impression that the AI has genuine empathy or real intentions or consciousness.
Right.
Like Largy and Datteri put it very succinctly, AI's apparent rationality is often the result of rationalization of input, not of real intelligence. It's processing inputs cleverly, not thinking deeply.
That's a really powerful point about our own tendency to project onto things. But couldn't someone argue, look, if the AI's output feels intelligent, if it is helpful, even if it's just rationalization of input, does the mechanism underneath matter that much to me, the user, in a practical sense? Or maybe, what is the practical downside of me taking this intentional stance?
That's a fair question, but the distinction is critical for user awareness, I think. If we adopt that intentional stance without thinking about it uncritically, we can end up misjudging the AI's actual capabilities, the real depth of its understanding, which could lead to disappointment, maybe relying on it for things it can't really handle, or even applying it incorrectly.
So it's about managing expectations.
Partly, yes. And it really calls for more transparent AI designs and better user education so we actually understand the nature of the intelligence we're interacting with. Is it processing or is it comprehending?
Okay.
Interestingly, one potential remedy mentioned in the sources is to try and design AI more in line with the intentional stance itself. Not pretending it has intentions, but enabling it to handle tasks that require it to consider intention and context, to make choices based on those factors, rather than just executing predetermined tasks without any kind of reflective processing.
Okay, so we want to build AI that can get closer to true Socratic dialogue, that can genuinely consider intention and context. How are researchers actually trying to bridge that gap between simulation and something more meaningful?
Well, this leads us to some really fascinating solutions being explored, particularly hybrid AI architectures.
Hybrid, meaning combining different approaches.
Exactly. Think of it like this. You combine symbolic systems, which are like the AI's logical rulebook, very clear instructions, like how a chess engine follows rules,
Got it.
with connectionist systems, which are more like its intuition. They learn from experience, from patterns, much like our brains learn to recognize faces without a specific list of rules.
So logic plus pattern recognition.
Basically, yeah. This fusion lets the AI learn on multiple levels. It can associate both the explicit rules and the more implicit feel of information, as Vadinsky detailed back in 2013. And what's really impressive here is that these hybrid systems can potentially make judgments and inferences by reflecting on experiences kind of like a Socratic questioner, guiding discovery, rather than just blindly following programmed instructions.
And they can transfer knowledge between those modes.
They can, which is powerful.
So this fusion, this hybrid approach, it allows for something like metacognition. The AI can sort of look at its own processes, self-evaluate. That sounds absolutely vital for truly dialogical AI.
It really is. It helps these cognitive chatbots, these smarter companions, perform more complex operations that require understanding cognition, understanding context, even making ethical sense of a situation.
Right.
So if we connect this back to the big picture, hybrid systems are really promising because they can handle ambiguity better, they can manage multiple layers of context simultaneously, and they can integrate ethical considerations by combining that experiential learning with explicit knowledge structures.
It's like getting the best of both worlds.
Kind of, yeah. This layered approach means you can get flexible, nuanced responses without necessarily sacrificing accuracy or consistency. It makes them potentially ideal for these complex conversational interfaces we're talking about.
Our sources also touch on some philosophical critiques of how we even think about knowledge itself. The traditional idea, classical epistemology, sort of suggested we just contain our knowledge, right? Like books on a shelf in our heads.
Mm-hmm. Self-contained.
But if Socratic AI is about co-constructing knowledge through dialogue, how does that challenge our own assumptions about what knowledge even is?
That's a really profound point. Daskal directly challenged that classical view. He argued that knowledge isn't just passively stored, it's dynamically interpreted and applied. And crucially, it's applied as an integral part of a continuing interaction with others.
So knowledge comes alive in conversation.
In a sense, yes. What this means for AI is that truly successful interactive systems can't just be fact dispensers. They need to be in continuous dialogue, exercising a really high degree of interpretive flexibility to build knowledge as they interact with you.
It's about a living understanding, not a dead database.
Exactly, a dynamic process.
So, okay, practically speaking, how do we actually build this kind of Socratic capability into an AI? Is there a specific technique?
Yeah.
Our sources mention one powerful approach: case-based reasoning, or CBR.
Oh, yes, CBR. It's a brilliant way to implement this dialogical idea, actually, instead of just pulling generic answers from some massive database. CBR uses stored memories of prior relevant conversational interactions, they call them cases, to generate personalized, context-specific responses to new queries. Craw and Amat discussed this.
So it's like the AI remembers past conversations.
Essentially, yes. It has a memory of similar situations, similar questions, maybe even similar interaction styles, and it uses that experience to shape its current response to you. It's much more tailored.
And a good CBR system, it can leverage that conversational memory to achieve something really interesting: dialogical intuition. What does that mean?
It means it can reason about the conversation's context, not just react to keywords. It can sort of self-reflect on the flow, recognize when the context is shifting, and draw conclusions to respond more appropriately. It's moving beyond simple retrieval towards actual reasoning within the dialogue.
It's reasoning on the fly, based on experience.
Precisely. And here's another intriguing detail about CBR. It can even incorporate Kahneman's famous two modes of thinking.
System 1 and System 2, fast and slow thinking.
Exactly. So the AI can have both that intuitive, quick, fast-thinking response, maybe based directly on a very similar past case, and also the capacity for more analytical, slow thinking when faced with a truly novel or complex situation that needs careful consideration.
Wow.
It gives it this really nuanced way to balance response speed with appropriateness. Craw and Amat see this as a powerful cognitive architecture for simulating Socratic methods in AI.
Okay, so bringing this all back home then, as AI gets better at this, becomes more Socratic, what does this actually mean for you, the listener, for your future interactions with technology?
Well, the simulation of Socratic reasoning, especially when it's achieved through these advanced hybrid architectures like case-based reasoning, it really enables AI to engage with us at a depth we haven't typically seen before.
Right.
By recalling previous interactions, by building up contextual understanding over time, and by continuously learning from those interactions, these systems are genuinely evolving. They're becoming less static, more dynamic partners.
And it's this combination, isn't it? The advanced computer science, the architectures, but also grounded in these philosophical ideas about dialogue and understanding. That's what leads to truly dialogically intelligent systems.
Exactly. That seems to be the path towards more meaningful, more reflective, maybe even more ethically sound conversations with AI, particularly with these smarter AI companions or cognitive chatbots that sources like Cron and Amot and Vadinsky describe.
More than just tools, perhaps.
Potentially, yes. Which leads to a really important question, I think, for you to ponder as you leave this deep dive, okay? As AI becomes more adept at this Socratic dialogue, as it gets better at genuinely engaging with our intentions and understanding, how might that change not just how we learn or how we solve problems, but how we think about our own knowledge? And maybe even the very nature of intelligence itself.